Hace ya bastantes años que no se juega.
De Puerto Rico parte dos.
Okay.
My name is Marcos Marrero. I'm currently the Director of Planning and Economic Development for the City of Holyoke. I studied undergraduate political science and economics, and as a graduate student I completed a master's in public affairs and urban and regional planning. I went to the University of Puerto Rico undergrad, then I worked for a year, and then I went to the Woodrow Wilson School at Princeton University for my master's. My childhood was in different places. I was born in New York City, but I grew up mostly in Puerto Rico. So I started off in New York City, and my family moved back when I was four and a half to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
And so I have a lot of early memories from New York City. Some of them are just mundane things of the apartments that we lived in, the very small apartments we lived in. Yeah. Political demonstrations, because my parents were very active. Daycare and school, kind of like big institutions. Mm-hmm. The cold, tasting snow, tasting hard. I don't recommend you taste the black snow. I still remember the taste. But yeah, I mean, from my youth in Puerto Rico, I remember, I think most things, going to elementary school, summer vacations, the beach, making friends, all that stuff. When I migrated from the United States to Puerto Rico, I was 4. When I came back to the United States in 2005, so I was 22. Yeah, I was 22 when I came. I lived here 2 years, and I went back to Puerto Rico for about a year and a half. Came back in 2009, so it would have been 26. Maybe that math works. Yeah, so it was about 26 when I came over in 2009.
Would you consider Spanish your first language or English?
Spanish, absolutely. That's my personal language. That's what I'm teaching my kids.
Yeah.
My kid learned Spanish before learning English. Yeah. Holidays, we would usually just go meet with family in someone's house. Mm-hmm. And then my mom, a big part of her family when I was growing up in Puerto Rico was still in New York City.
Okay.
And another portion was in Barceloneta. And so, we would either go to Barceloneta and it was family, but I basically have no family here. The closest family member I have is one of my cousins who we're very, very close.
When you came back to the U.S., mm-hmm. were you a little scared or nervous or confident?
I think I was most scared when I moved, for grad school. It was like the fear of okay, now you're leaving, you're gonna do something else, and what if you fail?
Yeah.
You
can't go. Not home.
Yeah, well, you can't go back as a failure. That's the thing.
Got it.
There's a lot of expectation of you just drum this up in your mind. It's not like someone's telling you this, but it's but you're telling yourself. I gotta. It's like a wannabe, fear la vega. It's I can't go back a failure.
Mm-hmm. Got it. Yeah.
So that's daunting, and then you're comparing yourself to, it's a whole other league. You're going into an environment where everyone's brilliant, and you're like, what? Do I belong, right? And you're asking yourself on many dimensions, right? On intelligence and the institution, but also as a minority. You're not necessarily a minority if you're in Puerto Rico. You're just surrounded by Puerto Ricans, and so all those questions come to mind.
What was one of the biggest differences between United States and your previous home?
Temperature, the winter, so the temperature and the light. Light was the lack of light during the winter. It's really depressing. Mm-hmm. For me. That was really hard. Being away from family and friends, not having that lack of community. That was hard. It's you feel like you're living just to work. Being away, particularly from the kids, right? From the sobrino. La sobrina, mm-hmm. Not being there in important moments, that's kind of hard.
Yes. What is your current vision for the Holyoke community?
Oh, wow, that one's deep. I think Holyoke has the highest percentage of Puerto Ricans anywhere outside the island in terms of a municipality having the highest proportion of population being Puerto Rican. the community here can really be a center for Puerto Rican culture, for Puerto Rican belonging in New England, and be like a model Puerto Rican community in the diaspora. Right now there's more Puerto Ricans living outside of Puerto Rico than on the island. And all the dynamics that created that are really unfortunate, right? Economic stagnation, hurricanes. I think this can be a place where, we make patria outside of the island. Certainly that's kind of how I wake up every morning saying, voy a hacer patria, but it's not within the 100 by 35. It's in our little piece over here.
That's right. How are you helping other Latinos who came to the greater New England area?
I mean, as Director of Planning and Economic Development, I guess I'm charged with improving the socioeconomic conditions in Holyoke, right, the local economic conditions. And so most of the work that I do in Holyoke is actually focused in the areas where Latinos and Puerto Ricans live, making sure that there are job opportunities, that there's a healthier real estate market, that there's infrastructure being redeveloped, creating better neighborhoods and more and better housing opportunities, whether it's rehabs or new construction. So that's kind of like my piece of the world, right? Like trying to make a better community in Holyoke where problems exist and have persisted over the years, and that correlates very highly with years in which Puerto Ricans have called home. It just so happens and stuff like, after Hurricane Maria, we knew, because there are so many relationships between Puerto Ricans here in Western Mass and in Puerto Rico, that we would get a large wave of migration. We had to kind of coalesce around how are we going to make sure that people coming over, migrating due to the hurricane, had services and had orientation. And so, not something that I did myself or the city. It was a team effort and led along with several nonprofit agencies to make sure that people had the right orientation around housing, healthcare, health planning, any income subsidies, connecting with jobs, and other types of case management. So that was particularly special because it's reacting in a time of grief when you're seeing what your island is going through.
Would you go back to Puerto Rico? Ooh. And why?
Killing me. I would go back, which isn't the same as will I go back. I can't exaggerate and say there isn't a day, but there isn't a week that goes by that I don't think about the conditions that would take me back to Puerto Rico. Mm-hmm. That would be without exaggeration. And it's desesperante. I don't know how I would say that. Desesperante to not see the conditions to go back. And I worry, am I stepping into a place that where meritocracy doesn't exist, right? Like particularly in my field in government.
Yeah.
And not wanting to sell out my values or put myself in a position where I have to sell out my values. Mm-hmm. So would I? Absolutely I would. But will I I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me sad. And it makes me sad to think about it.
I just put you in the spot there. You gonna sing?
No. None of you want that.